Hey everyone, we're back again with Megawatt Matt from Megawatt Home Renovations and Electric. Matt is the main guy you want to talk to there, general contractor as well as master electrician. So any electrical needs you have, you can talk to him.
Yep.
He can help you with those things. And today's topic is having the proper tool for the job. The proper tool for the job.
Super
and
important.
yeah, super important, right? Everything we talk about here is all about home renovations in Edmonton because that's where you are, it's where you operate, it's where you live, it's where your business is. So we want to really talk about that and promote that to the world of YouTube and specifically in Edmonton and anything home renovation related. Okay. Usually we start off with a quote, and this one's from Wallace D. Wattles.
I love the name. I love the name.
That's a great name. What's your name? My name is Wallace Wattles.
Wallace.
What? Wallace Wattles? Say that 5 times fast.
Yeah.
So what he had to say was, it is essential to have good tools. It's also essential that the tools should be used in the right way. Ooh, that's good.
It's very important.
Yeah, don't use your channel locks as a hammer.
Yeah. Don't buy the really expensive product if you've never worked with the product in the first place, because it'll bite you in the bum.
You're gonna break it, or stretch it, or you'll be upset. Yeah. Anyways, roughly 3,300 home fires originate in extension cords each year, killing 50 people and injuring 270 more. And that's from the Canadian Homeowners Association. Crazy. Electrical cords, extension cords.
Proper tool for the proper task.
Proper tool, proper job, right?
So,
wow, that's kind of
that's a lot.
shocking.
Yeah.
Shocking. No pun intended. Okay, Matt. Today we're talking about having the right tool for the right job. So you being a master electrician, you know a lot about that. You've been in the construction trade for a while.
Yeah.
Since you're 14 and now that you're 15, it's been
Hella beard for 15.
Has
Yeah.
it been a full year? No,
Yeah.
I'm just teasing. He's just a baby, so young.
36, baby.
36, just a baby. Why should you only use approved equipment?
Now, approved equipment isn't like your dad saying, "Hey, man, you can just use it. It's approved." It's actually got to have a stamp on it. There's multiple ones approved in Canada. CSA is the most common one. Then there's the underlisted
Underwriters Laboratory.
There's a whole bunch. So it's super important to use the proper approved equipment because they're rated for it. They're meant for what you're doing. And there's a higher likely that you're going to get injured if you're not using the approved equipment or the proper tool, because you're going to make it work, and making it work damages you and the equipment. So
High potential, and you're not covered for it. So let's get into that a little bit. So why is having the CSA stamp of approval and the testing, why is that so important?
So as an electrician, I can speak like super high on this, that if as a master electrician I install something that isn't a Canadian standard electrical device and it burns down somebody's house, it comes back on me for negligence because it wasn't rated for Canada, it wasn't rated for all of the situations that I placed it in, and it's on me to know that that's part of me being a master, is that I know that I cannot install that. Legally, I cannot. I have to turn it down and say, sorry, you have to get one that's CSA approved, or you can install it yourself and you're at your own liability for that.
Or you have to take that piece of equipment to CSA and get it approved yourself.
Which is very expensive.
Very expensive.
Very expensive.
Because you got 25 grand burning a hole in your pocket.
Yeah.
Or more.
Yeah, to start, yeah.
So, yeah. Just get something that's approved. Okay, so the next thing, why is making it work, why does that end up costing you more?
Because all of them making it work projects have to be done again. So like from start to finish, you can't just like do a job halfway through and then just hop back into it and then finish that half later on. Because if you do it with paint or a silicone or electrical device, it might have aged in that time, and then you go to put that plate on and it looks weird, or it does like it's just making it work never makes it work. It always ends up costing you more. It's there are no shortcuts in life. The second that you make a shortcut is where you fall into the open hole. So that's my best advice on that. So
Yeah, taking shortcuts during construction projects doesn't usually work out well.
no, it doesn't. It never has.
It'll fail sooner rather than later.
Yep.
And then you'll be sad.
Because you have to pay for it.
Yeah. Or if you're an unscrupulous individual, somebody else who buys the home you just sold them that's filled with crap has to
deal with it.
Yeah, so be careful, folks. Get the right stuff. Now, homeowners, is the homeowner's responsibility to use approved appliances?
Yes. If you look through your insurance policy, it's pretty clear to state that all appliances within the dwelling must be approved and up to code compliancy. A lot of people forget about their insurance policy because who reads every page of the 90-page thing that you get? But it does cover it in there that if you use unregulated electrical,
Plumbing,
wood products in your house and something happens, you are on the hook for it and your insurance will not cover it. And if they do cover it, they'll come back at you and get their money back. So
yeah, so typically most of the stuff you find on the shelves has gone through that process. It's only when you buy from these special online retailers, like maybe Alibaba.
Yeah.
You might find something that is non-CSA approved or UL listed.
Yeah. AliExpress.
Yeah, all that stuff. So just be careful. Make sure it's got that rating on it. Usually you can look at it while you're looking at the description. So
and the picture should have like a picture of the little tag hanging on the cord or the little stamp that says it's CSA approved. Just because it says that it is in the description, like make sure that your product that you're buying actually shows that it's CSA approved or it's the lab underwriter's lab approved. Just protect yourself on that aspect.
Okay, now, did you know that your local home improvement store might be selling things that aren't code compliant?
That are not, no.
Really?
Yes, they are.
Which ones?
So you have.
Don't say them.
Don't say them.
Don't want to get sued.
Okay. So the bright orange and the bright blue places will sell you breakers that aren't actually allowed to go in for new circuits. But the staff in the aisles, they don't know that, and they just assume that you're going to be taking that breaker and throwing it on an old circuit that's grandfathered into the code, because, well, they're not electricians generally. But so yeah, that's what I mean by that. They'll sell you a breaker that when you're going to get it inspected, the inspector comes in and goes, "You're not allowed to use that. Like, you can't use that." And it's very close. It's very similar, but it doesn't just have like an AFCI. It's an AFCI and a GFI breaker needs to be the combination. So if you go to the orange place or the blue place and you pick up a breaker, sometimes they're just arc faults and sometimes they're just GFIs. And if you go and get it inspected, it's going to fail. So they do sell a lot of products that aren't code compliant
for a new build.
But they're good for home improvements. Like that's their whole.
Gotcha. So it's good to have a qualified electrician if you're doing a new panel, a new build, all that
plumber,
kind of stuff.
HVAC guy, furnace. It's super important that if they fall into a red seal trade, that's what they hold as a red seal trade, and get those people to work on those items. So.
Okay, the next question is talking about some tools. What is the importance of knowing the proper handling of tools and equipment?
Super important, because if you don't, that's how you lop fingers off, that's how you get pinched in between walls and equipment, that's how a kid gets injured, and let's get to the chase, that's how your project usually gets held up. Material costs go up because you've damaged materials, because you've used equipment wrong, or you've damaged yourself. So now you're out and you're the home builder or whatever. So it's super important to know how to hold and handle all of the materials, the equipment, anything that you're using on your project.
Okay, now let's talk about using the proper tool for the proper job. Why is it important to use the right tool for the task?
So I'm guilty of it. Back in my
we all are. I mean,
back in my earlier days of construction, a flat blade screwdriver meant that it was a chisel, a flat blade screwdriver, a scraper. Really just a thing to throw at the ground, anything like that. And there was so many times where I would, slip off and scrape a wall, or I would, from not using the tool properly, I blunted the end. So when I actually went to use the tool for the proper job, it didn't work. So I had to get a new one or fix it. So making or using a tool that's not meant for the job, you might get it done once or twice, but on the third time, you're generally going to get hurt or the product is going to get damaged. So
yeah, I've definitely in the past used screwdrivers as chisels because your pipe or your conduit just won't quite go through that hole.
Yeah.
So
or using the bottom of your drill and smacking a lithium-ion battery, and you're smacking it into a metal spike.
That I never did, because drills are expensive to replace.
I watch people whack their drill up against nails and stuff, and I'm like, what do you do? And that thing will blow up in your face.
It will, it'll catch fire rather rapidly.
A lot of homeowners don't know that about the batteries, and they'll blow up, right? So,
okay. Now let's talk about something that I'm kind of a stickler on, but brand names when it comes to tools.
I'm a stickler too. I'm a man of brand. I love my brand, and I love the brands that I use, because the brands that I use, generally, they have the same, the people that are producing it have the same mentality as I do of how they hold it, how ergonomically it's going to work for me, the use of the tool, if it's going to make it easier for me. So I really like using certain brands because I know how they're going to work, how they're going to fit. And then if you start using different brands might not work with different brands, and then you're buying more things so it's just generally sticking with a brand name product. You have warranties, you have you can just go and grab it off the shelf instead of waiting for that tool that you spent $5 on from the other places that we know, and then you have to go every week to buy that product because it breaks. There's more accountability with a branded product than not. So
yeah, important to find a good brand with a good reputation, good warranty, and good exchange or repair policy. That's super important. Some tools you can get away with, some small, certain generic hand tools sometimes, but even then I usually go for the name brands, just because it's perception is reality, right?
it is.
If there's a perceived value or perceived level of quality with the tool, then I don't mind paying a little bit more for it. Usually you can tell the look, the feel,
that's huge,
all that kind of stuff. It makes a difference, especially there's some screwdrivers where they're just a injection mold plastic handled screwdriver that you can't really grip them really well. If it's wet or cold or whatnot, it's just not as good. So
it kind of actually the brand name tool selection falls kind of into the brand name of the company selection as well. You don't want to go with just a guy that's in a white van. He might be a fantastic electrician, but there's no brand, there's nothing that you can say, hey, this person, this company did it, right? So it's really important that the company stands behind the brand and the brand stands behind what they do. So
yeah, it's important, folks. So consider that when you're buying tools. Now, best question we've got today is getting started with Matt at Megawatt. Go to megawattpro.com. and you'll see there's a contact form, or you can just call directly and get a hold of Matt, and he'll come out and quote your project or just do the work. I mean, there's that as well.
Or I'll do both. I'll come out, I'll estimate it, and then I'll do the work too.
That's right. take care of everything.
Yeah.
And he's got the right tools for the job. So you don't have to go out and buy $10,000 worth of tools before you get started. Or making multiple runs to the orange place.
Or the blue place.
Or the blue place to get tools, right? Anyways, that's all we got for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, notifications, all that good stuff. And we will catch you guys on the next video.
Thanks, guys.